Geek Gourmet.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me, the Lou D-O double G, and I'm here with a great boom shot.
And I'm here with chocolate milk, brought to you by me.
Good. I've actually fell in love recently with lactose-free chocolate milk.
Bro, lactose-free chocolate milk is good.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's fantastic, man. My uncle bought it one day, a couple of months back, and it ended up being super good. and you have no consequences if you're lactose intolerant. So that's the plus.
That's the thing. I already drink like lactose-free milk,
right?
Because of my lactose intolerance, and that's really it. I mean, I don't hold back in any other area. Like I still eat cheese and ice cream, kind of as I see fit. However. Milk is like that direct source of lactose that I watch out for because it'll really mess me up if I'm not careful. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed, because I mean, sometimes I will just drink whole milk if it's just what we have. I kind of just prefer the taste of lactose-free milk because it's like, and I know there's not like a real like fat content difference, but it doesn't taste as fatty, and it's a little sweeter, I think. At least that's the way it like comes across.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. And I've fully transitioned to lactose-free stuff, and I actually don't eat cheese all that much. I mean, when I get burgers, I don't put cheese. When I have tacos, I don't put cheese. Like if I'm eating anything with cheese, I like to take it off. I mean, pizza's a different story though, obviously, right? Like,
oh yeah, bro, go get some pizza patron. And grab a box.
Dude, it's Pizza Patron is good, and so is Little Caesars. All pizza's good pizza.
Straight up. Well, okay, not all pizza's good pizza. I mean, have you had Pizza Hut? Pizza Hut's like kind of that like low mid tier pizza.
Yeah, I would disagree heavily. I like the Pizza Hut much more than Domino's.
And then we got like Pizza Patron and Little Caesars for whatever reason. Little Caesars in like the S tier of pizza joints that I've been to. Well, like pizza chains, I guess, because I'm not including like family-run pizza places. Because there are some family-run pizza places that are like way better than anything I just mentioned.
Well, like Via 313 here in Austin is fantastic.
Conan's in Austin is also amazing. That's probably some of the best pizza I've ever had.
A Pine House Pizza, man, I mean, here in Austin too is pretty fantastic. I would get that before any chain, but I have to say that Pizza Hut is probably my favorite chain. I know you said that you didn't like it, Boom, and I understand why.
All right,
but
Geek Gourmet Civil War. we're fighting now.
Geek Gourmet Civil War, but I can't with Domino's anymore, man. The school that Boom and I went to just fed the shit out of Domino's.
Oh, okay. Look, I mean, yes, Domino's used to be bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Domino's did used to be bad. I didn't eat it. But for whatever reason, within the past like 2-3 years, I've noticed that Domino's is way better now. Like they've done something completely different. Like their pizzas are not the same as they were years ago. You have to trust me on that.
Okay, then maybe I will trust you.
They're completely different. And I agree. The stuff that they used to feed us was bad. It was pretty bad pizza. But Domino's pizzas now are good. I'm not sure when this switch happened.
I'll have to sit down and and do like a food review. You remember that one time on the stream I ate like 5 burgers?
Yeah.
Well, I should do that with pizza one day. Bring in Domino's and actually have a good eat at it and taste it and be like, oh.
I don't know when this switch happened because I mean, I wasn't like eating Domino's actively for years. I was kind of in that like Little Caesars, Pizza Hut, Papa John's kind of like circle and rotating out of those. Because Papa John's makes some good pizza. He might be a racist, but that's good pizza. Anyways.
Dude.
But I transitioned to Domino's, I think, in like late freshman year, early sophomore year of college.
Do you remember I would always buy Pizza Hut like a lot our freshman year of college?
Well, okay. So normal Pizza Hut pizza, I'm not like huge on. I specifically like their thin crust pepperoni.
Well, that's what I always bought, and I'm assuming that's why you were always okay with it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like I don't like hate Pizza Hut, right? I just think it's on the lower spectrum of great pizza. I'd even say it's okay pizza, honestly. But the thin crust pepperoni, that's good.
And while we're on this conversation of pizzas, before we transition to the next thing that we're talking about today, there's this thing that I did, and I wrote a whole video on, that hasn't come out yet, because honestly, it can come out whenever. I just don't have the means to produce it at this moment, but I wrote a video called "The Best Pizza Ever." Boom knows what I'm talking about, and
I edited it.
Yeah, because he thought some of the jokes were in a bit of bad taste, which in retrospect, he was right. And I'm glad to have him around.
Too early in your career to get this canceled, my guy.
And this is why I had Boom around, because he helps me realize these things. But anyways, it was basically about how my favorite pizza in the whole world is the Totino's Party Pizzas. I'm sorry. That pizza throws every pizza to me out of the water. Fucking party pizzas go hard, bro. Like, I have to not buy them. If not, I'll eat one a day. It's true kryptonite, man. It is true kryptonite. Anyways, moving on from from our gourmet section of the podcast, moving into E3. So, Boom and I had conversations before this podcast, and obviously you heard about our hopes and dreams in the last podcast concerning E3. Boom, would you say that in all in all, E3 fulfilled at least some of your dreams?
What are we considering some? Because it's probably close to like 20% of it.
I mean, you know, in the conversations that we were having, because what we were saying for the most part. Okay, I'll hear you out.
There were two great conferences. It was the Xbox Bethesda and Nintendo. Both great conferences. One was at the beginning of E3, the other one was at the very end.
Right.
The rest of the conferences were trash. Square Enix's was like a solid C. While like Xbox Bethesda and Nintendo were both A. And everything else failed, bro. Everything else was bad. And I couldn't believe that we had this bad of an E3. Like, we haven't had this bad of an E3 in a long time. And I'm upset because PlayStation's still on their thing. We don't attend E3 anymore. We do our PlayStation State of Plays, and we reveal like one game every time we do them. And we're gonna keep replaying the same trailer for fucking Deathloop every time until it eventually comes out.
You sound mad about this. And
bro, I'm pressed.
No.
Square Enix was supposed to save us.
I'm with you.
So,
I'm with you.
like, my whole like mental process through like that whole weekend was, so like there was like the week before, it was all of the summer stuff that IGN was doing.
Right.
And that was good. That was good. I always like hearing about like indie projects, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool indie game to keep my eyes open, because I play a lot of indie games.
I mean,
indie games do go hard.
Tend to be sometimes some of my more favorite games throughout certain years. I mean, Resogun. You remember Resogun?
Resogun was fire.
It was awesome, dude. Anyways, continue.
Bro,
I'm sorry.
even last year, Hades came out.
Hades, dude.
And
Hades, yeah.
I put in like 15, 20 hours into Hades, and it was amazing. Like, literally in my mind, I couldn't decide whether or not I liked Hades or Doom Eternal or I guess I could compare it, like how much I loved it, to Doom Eternal. And I couldn't decide like which of the two I liked more, because I liked Final Fantasy VII Remake better than both, but I loved Hades. Hades was really good, and that's an indie game. It's by a Supergiant, I think. But I mean, I watched the majority of like the indie presentations, because those are always really important to like one, support, but two, to like keep your eye out. Like, oh man, hold on, out of like, because there's gonna be a lot of like indie games that you're not super pumped about, or like they're for different like groups of people with different tastes and stuff. And you see one that you like, you're like, hey, hold on, I gotta add that to my Steam wish list. I gotta write that one down. I gotta come back to that whenever that releases. I mean, I was in a good mood because of all that. And then we had the Xbox Bethesda pretty early on in the week, and that one was great. Ubisoft was Ubisoft. We still didn't see Skull and Bones.
God, that was my biggest disappointment of the weekend. But
Assassin's Creed, what's it, Valhalla? The only announcement concerning Assassin's Creed that we got, we're gonna do a second year of DLC for Valhalla when we're done with this one.
Which honestly,
that
I saw
was
coming.
our Assassin's Creed, bro.
I saw coming. Honestly, I'm not even triggered by it. Like
if that buys them time to make a better Assassin's Creed, so be it. But in the moment, I'm gonna be upset because I don't know what it's gonna lead to. I mean, Ubisoft did its usual stuff, Just Dance, like their like sports games that they like to do. Xbox Bethesda. So my thing with Xbox Bethesda, right? Because I'm on PlayStation. I have a PS5 and a PS4. I had a 360 back in the day, and I wouldn't say I'm like in one camp or the other about it. Because if Xbox gave me a better reason to have an Xbox than to have a PlayStation, I would have an Xbox. But because I'm on PlayStation currently, and because they bought Bethesda for a ludicrous amount of money, and they also bought Obsidian, they've straight up like stolen game franchises from people. Like they've taken games away from fans on this platform. Like for me, it's one exclusives are exclusives, right? I'm never gonna be upset that a console has exclusives.
Yeah, Spider-Man, stuff like that. Yeah.
Nintendo is always gonna be like the home for Mario and Zelda and Pokemon. Sony's always gonna be the home for God of War, Infamous, and Xbox is always gonna be the home for Halo, Gears of War, Forza.
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna be upset like being on my PlayStation. Damn it, I can't play the next Halo.
Right, because you knew that. You knew that coming in.
I knew that walking in, that I was gonna lose access to Halo and Gears, and I love both. I love both Halo and Gears, and I loved Forza while I played it. And this would have been before Horizon came out.
Oh, Horizon's fantastic, but yeah.
But I went into PlayStation like, yeah, I'm getting God of War, I'm getting Infamous, I'm getting XYZ thing. Elder Scrolls 5, and do you remember if Oblivion was on PS3? Oblivion might have been on PS3. Whatever.
I don't remember, but Elder Scrolls 5,
sure, 5 Skyrim was on PS3 and Xbox.
The daddy of all Elder Scrolls.
And it was on the special edition that looks better and runs better with all the DLC that they re-released.
Right.
On Xbox One and on PS4. Why are they suddenly saying, nah, we're not going to put the next Elder Scrolls on PlayStation? That suddenly alienates like a whole, I'm going to assume, third of their player base. Because it's going to end up on like all these games are going to end up on Xbox and PC.
Right. I mean, every game for the most part ends up on PC, yeah.
I go to Twitter and I see Pete Hines, like their PR guy. Bethesda.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sorry, sucks. It's just kind of like that. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. So suddenly all these people who, A, love Skyrim, The Outer Worlds, and Fallout can no longer play those games on PlayStation.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
Well, no, I absolutely know what you mean. So I actually wanted to I wanted to kind of move this conversation and take a few steps back, right? Because you brought up the point of PlayStation having their own thing, right? And
I'm not mad about there being exclusives. What I'm mad about is, oh my god, now there's... I mean, myself included, right? But I'm less concerned about myself because I have other games to play, right? If I can't play Outer Worlds for like X amount of years until they decide to like port it to PlayStation, or I pick up an Xbox Series X, because I do probably plan on picking up a Series X in a couple years after we get like the mid generation upgrades, PS5 Pros, Xbox like Series X Slims.
Absolutely.
I plan on picking up an Xbox then.
Right.
So I'm not like one way or the other about it. What upsets me is that and Xbox and Bethesda, when the deal happened, were like, "Oh yeah, we're not. Nothing's gonna change. I mean, we love all our player bases." And then, I mean, the rumors started floating around that they were gonna end up being exclusive to Xbox and PC, and I was like, "This is, I don't know if it's risky, because they can probably afford it. That is a massive dick move." Because you can't, like, as an Xbox player, you can't be like, "Damn it, I can't play God of War." Because you probably haven't played a God of War if you're only on Xbox. Or, "Damn it, I can't play the Infamous because I have an Xbox." Or like, "Well, sure, but you have Gears and Halo and Forza and Microsoft Flight Simulator and all these other really great and iconic exclusive IPs. The same way PlayStation has theirs and Nintendo has theirs."
Right. Okay, well, so like, I have a timeline question for you, because I remember the day when you and I were talking, we were texting about Bethesda getting bought by Xbox or Microsoft, right? Like, I remember that conversation. What I don't remember is if at the time this generation's consoles had already been out. Can you answer that question for me? Do you remember?
Like, if the PS5 and Xbox Series X had been out?
Yeah, when they made that deal.
It would have been, I think, the announcement of it, because it still took some time to, like, finalize.
Right.
But it was back... Ah, damn it. Well, I know, like, the announcement of the deal was, like, I think it was, like, mid to late last year. I think it was, like, towards the end of the summer, if my memory served me right. If that's wrong, it's wrong.
No,
But
because I remember
Bethesda
I remember
only
us texting
welcomed-
about it.
Bethesda was only, like, integrated into Xbox March 9th of this year.
So, I remember us texting about it. I was using the restroom at school, so we had to have been at school. Like, I was washing my hands.
It looks... I'm looking at it. It looks like it was late September.
Okay, so the PlayStation and Xbox
Yeah, that
Series
was like...
X...
It was like a month and a half, too, before.
Okay.
Because they would have dropped in early November. If it's
Right.
late September, it's like a month and a half.
So, I mean, it's an interesting move.
And at
like,
that point, a lot of people have already, like, pre-ordered their consoles if they've, like,
that was my
secured it.
point. So that was my point
Right.
that I wanted to bring up in this conversation, was that at that point, people have already made their pre-orders, right? People have already made choices based off of what the norm has
and then
been
when
for
it
years.
happens, they're, like,
Well, what the
easing
hell?
people. They're like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine, guys. We love all of our player bases, and we would never alienate them." QE3, we're alienating an entire fan base. Screw you.
And this is all of Xbox. And here's
Right?
my
And my whole thing is, okay, you go ahead, and then I'll say something.
Yeah, well, my whole thing is that if we're being completely honest here, I would say these last two consoles, and I mean PS5, PS4, have all been kind of, in a sense, outperforming the Xbox, right? And
Yes.
in terms of sales, in terms of general population, I guess general happiness, right? People are way more happy with PlayStation at this moment in time, right? So I feel like, and I don't know, obviously I'm not over there in Microsoft trying to fucking make these deals and understand, you know, whatever. But it seems to me like Xbox, this is a power play. Like, they're trying to make as much or more money than PlayStation, but I don't know that it's gonna work. Yes, you force certain people to not play these games or maybe pick up a Series X for these reasons.
Which
but
is the issue. We're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, they don't give a shit about that, though. Let's be honest.
People can't just go like, yeah, give me an Xbox. After they already picked up a PS5.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, though. Because you're right, but they don't care. they're playing the line. And here's one thing too that I mean that you were talking about earlier is like this has been a precedent for decades at this point, right? God of War is on PlayStation. Halo is on Xbox. You go into this knowing this. It seems to me almost like they're trying to set a precedent like that, being like Fallout is only on Xbox. I don't know, fucking it was Elder Scrolls is only on Xbox. That I feel like that's kind of something that they're trying to do. No, I agree with you.
They said, Phil Spencer said that there will be some new titles that will only be available on Microsoft platforms,
which is fine.
Which is fine. I
think that's fine. Yeah.
I think that's a good move. That's a good business move.
Right.
When we start being like, oh yeah, we're taking stuff away, man. Oh yeah, they can't play Fallout, Elder Scrolls, or Doom anymore. But you know what I mean? It's shitty.
Yeah, it's pretty, and yeah. And I know it's especially heartbreaking for you because I know how much you love Fallout and like
those are like literally like some of my favorite like IPs, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom.
I know that you love these games, and I know it's especially heartbreaking for you. And like personally, and I know
I'm happy for everyone who like plays on Xbox, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's not their fault. This is Phil Spencer. Who says one thing and then does something wildly different.
And something crazy might happen. You know what I mean? You never know. PlayStation
they were
might
saying they were saying the whole only some are going to be like some new ones are going to be exclusive.
Yeah.
And then they come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're doing all the ones that had already existed."
I mean, it would kind of be the equivalent to PlayStation buying
Ubisoft. And Phil Spencer was also like, oh yeah, for any of these games, they're either going to be like first or better on Xbox. Which tells us they're either going to be a timed exclusive or they're going to have certain like features that are like Xbox exclusive. Which is fine. I get it. Because PlayStation does the same thing.
Yeah, of course they do, yeah.
And they mostly do it with like Call of Duty, for the most part.
Right, you get the DLCs a month in advance and stuff like that.
No, we've gotten stuff like a year in advance.
Really?
Yeah, out of COD, yeah. There were like straight up modes that are like locked for a year.
I did not know that.
No, yeah. I think for like the past 2 or 3. But like aside from that. But when they showed off these games, because there were some games that'll say like, oh, Xbox exclusive, and then there would be some that say like timed Xbox exclusive. They made sure to differentiate the two. And both Starfield and The Outer Worlds 2 are Xbox exclusive.
Well, unfortunately, we can't control any of that. But like, I mean, you know, here's the thing though: with enough people makes pressure, and with pressure makes decisions going, you know, a different way. So, I mean, who's to say that it won't change? You know what I mean?
Excluding PlayStation and I guess Nintendo, right? They still hold the majority of like people playing those games under Xbox and under PC.
Yeah. And here, I mean, I play PC.
So they probably won't do anything.
I play on PC, so I will be able to play these games even before, and I might not even buy a Series X, to be honest with you, because I have a PC. I mean, I'll definitely be buying a PS5. I'm hoping to buy one tomorrow, actually. I was telling Boom earlier. I finally got an email from PlayStation being like, "Oh, here's your link. Hopefully you can get one. Bye." So, I mean, and to be honest with you, I would be a little upset if the tables were turned, right? Like, I feel like I'd be a little bit more upset about it if I didn't have a PC, right? And I only played on PlayStation and my Switch, and I couldn't play Fallout, and because I do like Fallout a lot. I played Fallout 4. It was actually my introduction into Fallout, and I genuinely loved it. Fallout 76, I played a little bit of it. I mean, I didn't really enjoy it too much, but I'm assuming that at some point we're gonna get a Fallout 4-esque kind of game again.
Like a sequel to that.
Right, or something.
Or I guess
something
not
similar.
to it, but like this, the next entry in the series.
Right,
That
exactly.
isn't 76 because it's not a mainline.
No, absolutely. And I mean, and with that, I mean, I understand frustrations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess this is all a play for money, unfortunately, and that's just how that kind of works. But
yeah, like I liked like just to close like talking about Microsoft Bethesda.
right.
It was an outstanding conference. They showed off a lot of good stuff. They showed off the Sea of Thieves. They closed with Redfall.
The Sea of Thieves thing looks awesome.
Sea of Thieves looked really cool.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2.
I saw that. Yeah.
Stalker 2. Halo Infinite.
Let's take a second.
It all looked good.
Let's take a second and talk about Halo Infinite. Actually, now that we're on this conversation, I'd love to talk about Halo Infinite. So, I saw the aspect of that conference, and I saw the trailer that they put out or whatever. And can I just say for a second, the fact that we don't have a release date, right? It just says sometime in 2022. Concerns me to no avail. Like,
that doesn't concern me because
it concerns me a lot, and not only that, but the game doesn't look all that great. It didn't tell me anything about the game. Or like, I guess what I was looking for was not given to me, so I really don't care about it until I see gameplay, until I see more.
Yeah. Well, I thought we saw some multiplayer gameplay.
I don't remember if was it in E3 or was there just another.
No, I thought it was during the conference.
I honestly couldn't find any. Maybe I just missed it. Anyways, what I did see though, I mean, it was just like kind of like, okay, let's just give them something so that they can shut up about it, and then
because it was supposed to come out over this last winter.
Which I get that why it didn't come out. I mean, the whole
because it looked like crap.
Yeah, that and the whole pandemic kind of ruined everything. I mean, Cyberpunk was a huge. Fell victim to being rushed and fell victim to what I'm assuming. I'm just going to blame the pandemic because that sounds like that would be correct. Well, I mean,
yes, the pandemic, but it was also leadership at CD Projekt Red. They weren't listening to their devs when they were saying that it's not done.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, and there's all that pressure, right? I mean, there's that pressure from players. There's that pressure from higher ups. There's that pressure.
Well, the pressure from the players came from the fact that marketing out of CD Projekt Red was like, oh yeah, the game's nearly done, and then would push back the game within like literal weeks
of saying
it being released. Well, literally like of its like release day. Like they would push it back, and they did that like 2 or 3 times. So it's just people being repeatedly pissed.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. I would prefer it to be a huge delay rather than, okay, we're delaying it 2 weeks. We're delaying another 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. We swear it's coming out this time.
Regardless, I don't know. I didn't get a huge. I've seen the Halo thing. I mean, I really didn't care too much about it. And, you know, I've played Halo for a good portion of my life. I played Halo 2 back in the day, and I played Reach and 3, and you know. But anyways, I mean, Halo Infinite is, I fear, and you know, maybe you disagree with me, maybe you agree with me. I fear that it'd be something along the lines of like another Cyberpunk, or you know, to where it keeps getting pushed back, it keeps getting delayed because it looks like shit, or it runs like shit.
I think they'll let this one be done just because 4 and 5 aren't exactly the hallmarks of the series.
No, they're not. They're absolutely not.
They're probably like the worst of the series.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you.
No, but yeah, Microsoft Bethesda was good. I have personal gripes with the company. Ubisoft was Ubisoft. The Far Cry 6 kind of looked mid.
Yeah, I didn't care too much about it. I mean, I'll play it. I think I will, but you know,
I'll probably play it like a couple years after it comes out. Like I'm barely playing through 5.
I'll wait for it and see how it looks, and then I'll go from there.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh yes,
I think it looks cool.
I do too.
I think they're like trying to tap into like this whole like that Left 4 Dead audience, but it doesn't look like it plays like it looks like it plays a lot slower than that. And if that's the case, I'm gonna still play it, just as long as it taps like deeper into like a horror, like a space horror element. Kind of like Aliens.
Do you remember okay, this game mode was by no means good at all. But like Extinction
Oh
from
yeah,
Ghost,
Extinction was trash.
yeah, it was trash. I would like to see something way better, but from Rainbow Six. That'd be kind of fun. Get your friends together and battle aliens in almost like a zombie-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool game mode. Anyways, just a thought I had.
Let's see. There was the Gearbox conference.
Yes.
It showed us a CG trailer for the Borderlands spin-off. We did actually get gameplay for Godfall's first expansion, and then we got some stuff for Homeworld 3 and Tribes of Midgard, which I'm not like super invested in because I've never like played anything out of those. The Square Enix conference, which I thought was going to end up being really good, ended up being just kind of whatever. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing was really neat, but I'm afraid because of the way they handled Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah, but honestly though, with Avengers, I never cared about it. It never looked that good, to be honest with you. Guardians does look better, but it's again, I mean,
it's also a different game, right? It's a single player.
Yeah, it's a different
it's not game. It's not like a live service game, so I'm hoping it ends up being better. There's what they call the Pixel Perfect remasters for Final Fantasy 1 through 6, which is a good thing because every other port of like 1 through 6 has been trash.
Right.
And I need those release versions of those games because every like future port has been bad.
Mm-hmm.
We've only got good Final Fantasy ports out of like 7, 8. I think we got some like slight HD remasters for like 9 or 10. But 1 through 6, I don't think I've ever had good ports. There's the expansion coming out for Marvel's Avengers, the Black Panther one, which I thought they were gonna finally show off Spider-Man for that game because they've been promising Spider-Man for literally a year now, and he hasn't. That's just nowhere to be seen. Platinum Games is making Babylon's Fall. It's gonna be a live service game. The Life is Strange games are coming out. I enjoy those.
Nice.
I'll probably end up playing True Colors since I played the first one. I didn't play the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin I think was interesting. It's an interesting take on what I imagine is going to end up being the first game. And it's coming from like it feels like they're trying to combine like a world of Final Fantasy with kind of like this Dark Souls vibe, which I dig. I haven't played the demo yet, but if I liked what I saw, if they can give me more gameplay, I'd be in. The PC game show, it was okay. I mean, because I think Orcs Must Die is like that's a series that people like. Dying Light 2 Stay Human, I'm actually looking forward to. I just kind of want to see some more. Chernobyl Light, I want to see some more of. Because I know that one's been announced for a little bit. And then Vampire the Masquerade, I'm interested in. I kind of want to see more. Capcom's conference. Yikes.
Yeah, that was a shit show, wasn't it?
Because there wasn't like a really good conference since Microsoft Bethesda, and I was like, all right, cool, Square Enix's time, because I love Square Enix games, and that one was only kind of okay. I'm like, okay, whatever. That was weird. And PC was okay, and Capcom like, all right, Capcom's gonna save this thing. And then the Capcom does theirs, and it's literally, yeah, we're gonna make DLC for Resident Evil Village. And then they moved on and said, yup, we're gonna keep showing you Monster Hunter Stories 2 until it's released. That's another one that they keep showing off. Like, for the past year, we've been seeing trailers for it. It's gonna finally come out, and I'm more excited about it finally coming out, just for the sake that I can stop seeing the same trailers over and over again. And then Great Ace Attorney Chronicles which I am excited about. I am gonna have this. I'm gonna get on my Switch because that's where I have my other Ace Attorney games. However, they really used a lot of time to show us like gameplay of games that have been out for like 6 years in Japan and are just barely now getting ported to the West. And then the conference ended. Bro, Capcom dropped the ball. That was whack.
I agree, and I was hoping to see something that wasn't just Resident Evil Village, but
which they didn't even really show.
No, they didn't.
They were like, "Yup, we're definitely making DLC because you guys like Village."
We do, we absolutely do. But I mean, we also want to, keep having content to make
like
memes about.
Like if it were just, I mean, if we had even gotten like a roadmap, I would have been satisfied. But they were like, "Yup, by popular demand, we're making DLC that you're gonna pay for."
No one claps.
Yeah, bro. Like, oh, cool. I guess. And then Nintendo came swinging.
I was about to say, I was about to bring
Nintendo
up Nintendo.
was swinging for like the outfield, my guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Nintendo's Nintendo Direct is probably like my favorite out of all the conferences.
I agree. Let's talk about Breath of the Wild too, then, just because that is something that was kind of big for the Angry Belly, right? I mean, that Breath of the Wild boom was there the whole time. Got me to be an affiliate on Twitch. That's the game I played all like 80 hours on Twitch. It was definitely a thing, and I'm definitely gonna bring it back. And I enjoy Zelda. I mean, I always have. So let's talk about Breath of the Wild for a second. We finally got gameplay, right? Since that last trailer we got in what was it, 2019?
Yes, that real like short clip of them walking down to like the depths of Hyrule Castle, only for like, I'm gonna say zombie Ganon to like awaken.
That's what it kind of seems like. I love the whole falling through the sky thing. It kind of gave me
Skyward Sword.
The third Shippuden opening when Naruto's falling through the clouds and Bluebird. That's just like the first thing I thought of.
Did you play Skyward Sword?
No, I didn't, but I did see gameplay because people were talking about it, and it
the
gives
HD remake's coming out next month if you want to play it.
That might be something I'll look into. So I just like to jump in here real quick with Breath of the Wild and say that like this is probably next to Battlefield my most anticipated game. At least definitely from Nintendo. And I'm really satisfied just with Breath of the Wild alone for Nintendo's conference. I'm super happy and I'm super excited. We didn't get that Switch Pro announcement, boom. So there's that. We did not get that announcement yet. But in terms of the gameplay and kind of watching, good. Neither do I. in terms of the gameplay and watching it though, it does feel. It feels like the last game, which only makes sense. I mean, it is a sequel to the last game, so. I did like a lot of. It seems like we're getting new power ups.
Got new powers.
Yeah.
And it looks like the way that Link uses them is different because before in Breath of the Wild, it was all through the Sheikah Slate. And that's where we had all of, like, all the powers attached to it, like the time stop, the freezing, all that good stuff. But when we're now... He's doing it, like, through his arm. I think he has a mechanical arm now.
I guess we'll see, right? I assumed that it was just, like, a Sheikah Slate, but, like, on his arm. That's what I just kind of thought it was. Like, like a sleeve or, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, man, all those new power-ups look really cool. The one that kind of surprised me a little bit, because, when you're doing the puzzles in Breath of the Wild, there was always that one, you would stop time, do the thing, and then hit it so that it went another direction, and then it would unfreeze, and then it would go.
Oh, the time reverse one?
Yeah, it kind of seems like there's that similar one, but you kind of just reverse it or something.
Yeah, you reverse it like...
I didn't see him hit the thing, and it just kind of went the other direction.
Reverse. It looks kind of like when you, like in key animation, when you like reverse it among key points. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes, it does.
So
It
I mean,
does.
the game looks great. I'm curious about how you get to like the Sky Islands, because I can only imagine that there's probably going to be like loft wings, like the same way that Skyward Sword does to like
Right.
fly
Yes.
him up
Yes.
there.
Yes. Yes.
Because his glider only glides; he can't go up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, who knows? Maybe with this new power ups, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
there
get
might just
something,
be
yeah.
something built in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
And then we got the 2022 release window, which is good. I'm glad that they're finally acknowledging, like, oh yeah, it's gonna be out like this next year.
Which is super exciting, man. And I gotta say, like, I am not as worried about Nintendo's games coming out in their release windows. They seem to be pretty.
No, all like for the most part, all of like the games that they talked about are coming out this year, especially within the next couple months. I wish more companies did that.
Well, it's because Nintendo takes. I mean, first of all, they're Japanese company. I mean, right? Like they're based in Japan. So maybe they just do things differently. I don't know.
Well,
but
I mean, then you could say the same thing about Capcom and Square Enix.
that's very true. No, I stand corrected. You're very right.
But I mean, aside from Breath of the Wild, there was also Kazuya from Tekken.
Yes, I
is
saw
going to be in
that.
Smash at the end of the month.
Actually, that might be one I buy, man. I might
That's
buy
kinda hype.
that
That's kinda
fighter.
hype.
I might buy that
I thought
fighter,
it was
man.
going to be Heihachi when they started that trailer, and it was like the whole volcano cliff thing. I'm like, it's Heihachi, and then it zooms in and it's Kazuya.
I'm actually kind of excited about that because I played Tekken a lot growing up, so I wouldn't mind buying a Tekken character on Smash.
Which honestly, I'm surprised. This is only the second Bandai Namco rep in Smash, and they
That's true.
co-develop Smash, and until now they've only had Pac-Man.
I love Pac-Man. He's one of my mains.
What else came out? Super Monkey Ball.
Super
We're
Monkey
getting
Ball did.
like a re-release collection, which is good. Mario Party, we're getting a new one.
Dude, I love Mario Party. It's so fun, bro.
Mario Golf looks like it's gonna be really good this year.
Mario Golf, dude. Hell yeah. I love all those games,
We're getting
man.
a new Metroid after 20 years.
I was gonna say, are you excited, dude? I know you love that shit.
Bro, I am excited. I need to go back and I need to finish Super Metroid. I have it on my DS. I need to just go back and finish it. I got like halfway through and I put it down for whatever reason. I think I was busy. It's not because I disliked it. I loved it, actually. But I need to go back and finish it. Metroid Dread looks really good, and it has that horror element that I was talking about with the new Tom Clancy game, where I want there to be like this kind of like alien-like horror
Yeah, with Rainbow
element
Six.
to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread has that.
Does it?
Because you can't kill the robot monster tracking you down. Your options are to run and hide, because it'll kill you on contact. And what does that remind you of?
Alien.
Alien Isolation, bro.
Yeah,
That's exactly
yeah,
what I
Alien
wanted.
Isolation. Yeah.
Let's see,
Well-
what else came out? We're getting a new WarioWare. Did you ever play WarioWare?
I did not, but I thought that was an interesting choice to make another game of.
Bro,
I really
honestly,
did think it was-
it's such a fun choice, bro.
I mean, well, that's the thing with Nintendo, right? Like a lot of the games that they play, we're talking like Mario Party, we're talking Mario Golf, like we're talking like the Sluggers, Mario Sluggers, like games like that always tend to be really fun. Like you're usually not playing them to be
there
super
to be
serious.
like learning something about yourself or society at large. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna steal this fucking star from my friend, and we're gonna ruin our relationship.
Yeah. Mario Party. Oh, dude, I love Mario Party. I have the first one. Anyways, yeah. And
Fatal Frame is coming back too.
yeah, I saw that.
Fatal Frame, like, I think this is one that was trapped on the Wii U. So I can't think of like any more like really good Wii U games that are still locked to the console outside of Wind Waker HD.
Right.
Shimigami Tensei 5, Nintendo Switch exclusives coming out this November. I'm copping that day one.
I figured you would.
Day
knowing you.
one, bro.
It's
a massive cop.
Talking about, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk
Okay.
about
Shimigami
what game-
Tensei 5. What's going on?
No, not that one. Yes, that one indirectly. But you said copying that day one. What games? And I'll jump in here too. What games will you be copying day one from what you saw in this E3?
Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah.
Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm like probably Final Fantasy Origin, Stranger of Paradise.
Right. You love your Final Fantasy games.
I'm probably gonna end up picking up some of the Pixel Perfect remasters for Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5. Because I have 6 on my SNES Classic. Probably get all of those on Steam, actually. And then if I can see some like gameplay from Rainbow Six Extraction, I don't know if I'll get it day one, but I'll probably wait like a little bit and then get it. And
Yeah, I
then
understand.
I also really want Back for Blood, that Left 4 Dead sequel.
Yeah. I was gonna say Back for Blood. I'm excited about it. I don't know that I'm gonna buy it day one. I want to see how it goes, kind of thing, like you were saying.
Yeah, I'm likely to wait for Back for Blood just to see how it like plays out. Just because sometimes some for whatever reason, some developers like release a game like a month or two too early, and then they have to like go in and fix stuff or like balance things.
Yeah. Which I mean, it makes sense. Mistakes happen. But for me, I think I know Boom. We kind of briefly talked about this offline, but I know Boom doesn't really like the new Battlefield too much, but I think I'm gonna end up buying it day one for sure.
I don't think I'll buy it day one, and I texted you about this how I was wrong about it. I'll probably end up picking it up a couple months after.
How I was wrong about it. Oh, Boom.
My first impressions were like, nah, I don't want it, and then I saw some more. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. I definitely will be buying that day one. I'll be buying that day one, and I'll be buying Breath of the Wild day one for sure. I mean, all these other Halo Infinite, to be honest with you, I know I was saying that I'm kind of scared it's going to be shitty, but I'll probably end up buying it day one and just kind of seeing how it goes. I can't say for certain though that I will, but I'm like 60% sure that I will end up buying it day one. Just because that's one of those games that you kind of want to be on the front end of, right? You kind of want to play the story mode and all that stuff. If anything, the multiplayer will be what they kind of patch up. But for the most part, I would say Halo is known for their campaigns. So that's just one of those that I'll probably end up getting unless something insane happens and I'm like, yeah, I'm out. But even so, that I'm kind of teetering with that game right now. Like, I'm kind of just like, I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm also not a lifelong Halo fan, although I've been playing it for a while. It just wasn't my cup of tea, you know. But I am giving it the benefit of the doubt just because Halo does have a decent enough track record for me. But yeah, I would say for the most part. Oh, and Ubisoft, Rainbow Six, probably. I kind of want to see as we're going along if there's like a game mode they come out with that I'm just head over heels for, which I'm kind of hoping happens. But right now, I honestly think I will end up getting it day one. Rainbow Six specifically. But yeah, I would say that was really it for E3, wasn't it? I mean...
Oh my god, the Bandai Namco conference, bro. I said conference, right? Bro, they showed one game and called it a day.
They really did.
I was so pissed. I thought we were going to get gameplay for the new Demon Slayer game coming out in October. But we didn't.
because we were watching videos right on the stream the other day.
Yeah.
Of which that game looks pretty sick, and honestly, I might get that game day
one.
Bro, if we're being honest.
We didn't get gameplay for Demon Slayer game. We didn't get any announcements for a new Dragon Ball game this year because we get annual Dragon Ball games.
Right.
We didn't get anything for any other like new anime IPs that they might be making games for, because they're kind of just the like publisher for those. We didn't get anything for Shinobi Strikers. We didn't get anything else that they like do. Bro, I was like high-key mad when they only showed one game and said that's a wrap.
In their defense, though, there's been a lot of Demon Slayer gameplay. In their defense, I mean, we sat there and watched a handful of videos, every character that we could see their finishers.
Yeah, but we couldn't get like just an E3 trailer, like cutting together stuff, like just make us like hype.
Yeah, you have a point. Yeah, you have a point. I mean,
like even just a recut trailer, but would have been cool. Like with this, the release date plastered on it, collector's edition in the back, just anything else but nothing. Holy crap!
And I mean, hey, we'll see, right? I guess like I'm not super into Dragon Ball, right? So I'm not necessarily upset about it, and I was pretty happy with what I saw in terms of Demon Slayer.
Elden Ring, and Elden Ring is kind of that game that everyone's been talking about for the past like 2 years. That's that game that Bandai and was it the guy who does Game of Thrones has been working on, George R.R. Martin.
Yes, George R.R. Martin. Yeah.
We got a trailer like in like the week before. We're like, all right, cool. They're gonna show some stuff at E3, and then elected to not show us some stuff at E3. Why? Oh, man, I'm like still flabbergasted.
You seem flabbergasted.
Yeah, bro, it doesn't make sense.
All in all, though, like I would say
anyway,
that this was a pretty mid E3. There wasn't a whole lot that I was super hyped about. I mean, I was excited for. I mean, y'all heard us talk about all this. I mean, Breath of the Wild, Battlefield. I mean, Rainbow Six. But usually, I'm way more excited about multiple things. Like, it's usually not just a couple of games and that's it. Like, I feel like there's more that I'm usually excited for, and this one was super like lackluster. And I don't know, maybe the fact that PlayStation isn't there makes it a little bit harder to watch.
Yeah,
and
I
be
think
involved.
The last PlayStation conference was the one where they announced God of War.
Yeah,
like the 2016.
Yeah,
I don't think they've been since.
Yeah.
I think they were. You know what? They were there for the year after. I think the one where they stopped coming was 2018.
And I mean, that's the same thing with like Comic-Con, right? Like when Marvel hopped out and was doing their Disney D23, whatever, instead of doing it at Hall H, which kind of sucked because that was the magic, right? Like that was the magic of Hall H. Is you got Marvel, you got what do you call it? Warner Bros. DC. You get, I mean, everything and anything that is comic book related ends up and going to like a live feature film or whatever, TV show, Flash, Arrow. It all happened in Hall H, and that was the magic of that. And that was the magic of E3 too, right? Like we had everything at one point, and then PlayStation now has their own thing, which is kind of annoying, to be honest with you. And I wish that I could go to E3 one day physically when this pandemic is behind us and actually like experience it all. But unfortunately, we are in this whole thing where everyone just kind of wants to have their own thing, and it would kind of suck if Microsoft followed suit because now they have Bethesda under their belts and things like that. So I don't know, man. Regardless, I am excited for the games we talked about, and I hope that next E3 is a lot better, to be honest with you. And and it would be cool though, Boom. And here's a dream of mine. It'd be super cool if one day E3's happening, right? And then they get Geek Gourmet to go there and record their podcast in front of a live audience. How would you feel about that, Boom? How would you be excited to do something like that?
It depends on the state of the pandemic.
Assume that it's over. Assume that we're good.
Assuming it's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That was how you like response to that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, because I've also never been like, oh man, I'm going to E3. Because going to E3 is kind of a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get till it's already over.
Yeah, but there ought to be some badass things to buy, cool things to see, tournaments. Like, there ought to be a lot of cool stuff. I'd like to go. I'd like to go one day.
I'd probably go like
to Comic-Con.
once. Comic-Con I want to go to, because Comic-Con's kind of like consistently like a banger. But E3 isn't consistent.
That's very true. I mean, these past few years are testament to that, so. Anyways, who knows, guys? Maybe one day in the future, Geek Gourmet will be featured at E3 to go and record their podcast there. That'd be cool. Anyways, we're going to end it here today, folks. As always, remember to have fun, be safe, and keep those bellies full. I appreciate everyone listening to us ramble and talk about stupid shit, and we have more coming in the future. Come back next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.